Bristol Penguins.
I think the real problem is they tried to get out, but they moved pretty slowly, those plasticine.
The real tragedy was not only the Penguins went and all that, but the Lurpak guy. You remember the Lurpak guy?
Yeah, and
That
Morph.
was sad. Morph.
But the police think Morph did it.
They should have a sort of plasticine Columbo to investigate it.
What are the miniature figures made of?
Highly inflammable plasticine. Goes up like a rocket.
I think we have to give you
Odd plast or something.
the Ard mix is actually the
Ard mix.
answer. You're very close. Any idea or anyone interested in knowing how much of it was used in the recent film?
3,000 tons.
Well, that's exaggerating. You're taking the piss out of my question, really. So I'm not going to tell you the answer.
Yeah, don't tell him.
I'm not telling. What hasn't Gromit got?
A mouth.
He hasn't got a mouth. He hasn't got... Yes, that's correct. He hasn't got a mouth. If you want to see what the New York Times said about Gromit, they said, his face now enters the pantheon of stars whose charisma transcends speech. Keaton, Chaplin, Garbo, Gromit. This is the fire at the Aardman warehouse that destroyed the entire collection of Wallace and Gromit figures and sets. According to the Daily Mail, the Lurpak Butterman was the first to melt, although a post-mortem examination revealed that he'd already died from a fantastically high cholesterol level. Keeping a healthy sense of perspective, Nick Park told The Sun, in light of other tragedies, today isn't a big deal, although The Sun thought differently. Rocky and Ginger, dead. The Tweedies, dead. Douglas from the Lurpak Butterads, dead. Terry the Nervous Octopus, dead. Sporty Frank, dead. Tony Hart's pals, Morph and Chaz, dead. Pickles the Guide Dog, dead. Some Scared Chickens, dead. Sorry, it's like that bit they do in the middle of the BAFTAs. They will all be sorely missed. And made again quite easily, so get over it. So, team, stand by for the next picture.
If that's not a mosquito, I'm wrong. Is that a mosquito?
Well, let's have a look, see if you're wrong.
Yes.
You are wrong.
It's a grasshopper thinking about the robots in Star Wars.
Oh,
Scientists have identified a part of the grasshopper's brain that solely contains about science fiction. And there's a little tiny part just behind the earlobe. And if you take that bit out, it doesn't think about science fiction at all. You put it back in, it goes on about Doctor Who all night.
Well, frighteningly, you're pretty close to the truth.
Oh, I don't want to know about that. Really?
This is the ignoble prizes, which they do annually alongside the real Nobel Prizes, and they're awarded to genuine research. This picture was awarded a prize for being an experiment that cannot or should not be reproduced. Claire Rind and Peter Simmons of the University of Newcastle upon Tyne got locusts to watch Star Wars and measured their responses.
Well, once you start doing things like that, I mean, there's no end to it, is there? You show an egg a trumpet. No response.
And what did the locusts say? We like the early days when Harrison Ford was in it, but it's rubbish now.
There were other animals you may well be interested to know. There was the Fluid Dynamics Prize went to some bloke for his paper, Pressures Produced When Penguins Poo, Calculations on Avian Defecation, and, well, there's a diagram. I think you should see it.
You've got simple anatomy, haven't they, penguins?
You know, that was my favourite episode of Pingu, that.
Did anyone see the invention that won the prize for economics?
I did read this, but then I completely forgot about it because I didn't think it'd be any use to me in my particular life.
There's an alarm clock that wakes you up and then runs away and hides itself, so that you have to get out of bed to stop it from...
That's a good idea.
It's not a bad idea. I've got 4 of them. They're called children. The Ig Nobel Prizes are awarded to scientists who have conducted particularly pointless research. One award went to scientists who made a group of locusts watch Star Wars in order to investigate their brain activity. According to the research, the insects responded particularly strongly to the X-wing fighter planes, and one particularly nerdy locust spotted a continuity error involving Darth Vader's lightsaber. Next picture.
You pressed, didn't you? That looks like a ferret.
Yes, and Burberry, who makes the check stuff that people wear and is a bit...
Bit what?
Not so good. And I think either Burberry are bringing out ferret outfits with hat, or somebody is doing that and it's a rip-off.
You were nearly right. It's not Burberry making the outfits for the
It's a
ferrets.
copy.
It's someone who's ripping off Burberry. It's called Ferret World. Have I mentioned that?
It just sells stuff for ferrets.
That's right.
Sorry, I'm being slow here.
Sorry, it
It
sells...
just sells ferret outfits.
Yeah, you have a problem with that? Be honest, if you went to Ferret World, you'd be disappointed if it wasn't for ferrets.
Yeah.
So, anyone know what the best-selling item is for the ferrets?
Is it a bikini? It is, isn't it?
It is. Well... yeah, I'm going to go with bikinis.
Yeah, OK.
Their second best-selling item is a waxed jacket.
Is it expensive, this stuff in Ferretland?
No, I don't buy it.
Have you got a catalogue?
I bet it scares the rabbit when it comes down the hole. Yeah. Oh, no, it's a Chad!
If I was a ferret, I'd walk around in a top hat and a little silver cane. How do you do? That's what I do.
Say, don't you know?
No, hello, I'm a ferret, do.
According to the owner of Ferret World, one of the best-selling ferret costumes is the Phantom of the Opera cape. And if you like the idea of looking at a ferrety face poking out of human clothing, Andrew Lloyd Webber's your man. Moving on to our final picture.
It's Richard and Judy.
Richard and Judy with whom?
Stephen Hawking. He's brought out an even briefer history of time, hasn't he? Because the other one was so difficult to read. Famously, the book that sold millions but was very little read. And Richard was asking him all sorts of questions. Is there life after death? Things like that, you know. I don't think so. I didn't know I was going to do it. It just came out, didn't it? I could have done the Alan Bennett impression and said, I was born in Leeds.
Oh, no, you weren't, Paul. I don't think you were.
Well, that's Mavis. I got that one.
Some of the exchanges on the shows, as you've already picked up on, were quite illuminating. He asked, is there an afterlife? And Stephen Hawking said that belief in an afterlife is just wishful thinking. And Richard replied, oh, that's depressing. I was hoping for a yes there.
Why would Stephen Hawking know for definite?
Ask a scientist, they must know.
Yeah.
And the Telegraph report revealed that Hawking explained Einstein's general theory of relativity seems to offer the possibility that we could warp space-time so much that we could travel back in time. However, it is likely that the warping would trigger a pulse of radiation that would destroy the spaceship and maybe the space-time itself. To which Richard Madeley replied, God! It's Stephen Hawking who finally met his intellectual equals when he appeared on the Richard and Judy show. The show's producers were worried that the interview wouldn't make good TV, what with all the halting delivery and the slurred speech, but Judy managed quite well in the end. At the end of this round, Ian and Tony have 3 points, and Paul and Claudia have 6.
Oh, well done. Well done. Very welcome.
Sorry about that.
Time now for the odd one out round. Just one between you this week. Austin Mitchell, a boy with a kite, an old man in a T-shirt, and 598 other people.
Well, it doesn't make any kind of sense at all.
It's the Labour conference. It's about getting into it or not.
Yeah.
Austin Mitchell takes pictures of things and he got stopped, but I think was eventually allowed in. Whereas all these people are quite clearly terrorists. Look at that boy. A huge number of people were arrested and stopped going into the conference.
Yeah, except for...
Austin Mitchell.
Except for Austin Mitchell.
yeah. There's a bit of a story behind the camera, though, with Austin Mitchell. Did you hear about this?
Did you not understand how it works and when he looked at the pictures, they're all close-ups of him?